Now, before we start today's show, I want to thank the sponsors who make this show possible: Impact Health Sharing, American Independence Gold, and our new sponsor, Sat123.com. Here at OMG, we partner with companies that help Americans take back control, whether that means finding more affordable health care, protecting your savings with real assets like silver, gold, or securing your privacy and communications in an increasingly uncertain world.
Welcome back to On the Inside with James O'Keefe. I am Breanna Morello. Welcome to the show. In case you're not familiar with me, or you are, you may have seen me before on InfoWars with Alex Jones. I was happy to host over there and be the opening act for Alex. You also might be familiar with my work over at Fox, Newsmax, MLB, as well as ESPN. So I'm happy to be here filling in for James because, folks, he's got a bombshell report he is releasing today. The O'Keefe Media Group, in coordination with Citizen Journalism Foundation, is releasing a bombshell report. We did a tease for this yesterday on our social media pages, and it was a big one. So let's watch.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages.
You either do a deal or we're going to blow your stuff up that will allow you to function as a nation.
Iran has no air defenses. Iran has no air force. Iran has no navy. Iran planned to defeat, destroy, disable all of their meaningful military capability.
We're fighting in many ways the war of the West, the war of Western civilization against these barbarians. And our victory will be your victory.
Today, we are releasing one of the biggest reports we've done yet. The Citizen Journalism Foundation caught a big fish, and a top nuclear official tells us a lot about his role. Take a listen.
He might kill the next guy, the son.
His son.
If he does the same way as they have getting killed. We're gonna shoot missiles and destroy some stuff.
Yeah.
But if you want to win, if you want to make the country do what you want, you have to put people there.
I was hearing something that we killed kids in the car. Did we actually?
Well, there's been some collateral damage, yeah, for sure. They always die in war. Yeah. So nerve agent is a chemical weapon. It's like Pandora's box.
A nuclear and chemical safety branch chief in the United States Department of the Army spills detailed information about their possession of nerve agents.
And lungs won't work, your heart won't work, nothing will work.
Revealing that a U.S. Army chemist was exposed to the nerve agent due to careless handling.
She's supposed to wear all this gear, and she's like, I don't like it. She just wore Crocs and her own clothes.
Yeah.
And so it's soaked in her clothes. And just soaked very well on her skin. So she could literally start touching stuff. Other people would touch like a door, and then people would die.
Then goes on to reveal intimate details about the U.S. nuclear arsenal.
So you said there's missiles underground in
Yeah.
Also discloses that the United States military has no official plans to nuke Iran.
We're not thinking about nuking anybody. We're not moving nukes. We're not going to nuke it.
And the exact methods that the U.S. uses to defend against nuclear attacks.
We have all these sensors in space. We have radars, all these sensors to detect a launch. Space satellites with radars, you'll see it. On the radar, you actually see the thing flying.
And confirms what many have suspected, that Ukrainian officials were using the money sent from the United States to buy themselves mansions and luxury sports cars.
I worked on Obama's tax money that he sent. They just stole it, and they bought houses, cars, like $100,000 cars. If they can get themselves rich and leave and go live in Dubai, that's better than, they don't care about the people. That government is so corrupt. You're not a spy, right?
No.
Your eyes have mesmerized me so much that I'm almost going to tell you. That's why that's the easiest way to get intelligence. Just send a pretty girl, talk to the guy.
I'm independent journalist Breanna Morello, here filling in for James O'Keefe for the latest exclusive report inside the U.S. Department of the Army.
I do work with chemical weapons, nuclear weapons, but I do the safety, security stuff. I was chief of chemical nuclear surety, which not many people outside, but in this world, surety means safety, reliability, security. It's surety just means all the things to keep it safe. I make sure that people they're reliable. There's no psycho people working on the weapons. You don't want a psycho person with access to that stuff.
Andrew Hogg is a nuclear and chemical surety branch chief with the U.S. Department of the Army. He reveals a surprising amount of detailed information to our undercover journalists about the locations of the U.S. nuclear arsenal and the methods that are being used by the United States to defend against foreign nuclear attacks. To protect U.S. national security interests, we have omitted certain pieces of information from this report.
So you said there's missiles underground and
Yeah. In the Cold War days, we had them like all over the place. But now we've kind of shrunk them down with Russia working with treaties. But then now you got China that's like, well, I don't have a treaty. So China's building more. They're planning to build more than we got.
Okay,
so
really?
That's the problem. Like, we have all these sensors in space. We have radars, all these sensors to detect a launch.
You detect the launch coming from someone else?
Yeah, with space satellites, with radars, you'll see it. On the radar, you actually see the thing flying. You'll know how big it is, the speed. You'll know that's a missile. I mean, you can tell all this stuff.
According to Andrew Hogg, nuclear officials that oversee the missile launch procedures are trained to initiate a launch even if it is a Girl Scout that presents the launch order with the correct codes. Fire.
We're literally trained that, if a Girl Scout, this is serious, we were always trained, if a Girl Scout gives you a message, a launch message, she knocks on your door, goes, here you go, she gives you a launch message on a box of cookies, she wrote it down. If it passes all the checks, go. If she just passes it on to you, that's what we're trying to say. No matter how you get it, take action. Because that's how you have to do it in a war, because you don't know.
Yeah.
They can take down most of the communication.
Right.
So it's an extreme example, but we actually would train that. Like, no matter what, you go.
While the example may sound humorous, imagine if this branch chief was actually talking to a Chinese spy. He has now just revealed where our nukes are stored and the exact method we would use to defend ourselves against Chinese nukes. And even revealed that if China wanted to trigger a false launch from the US, all they need is the launch code and a Girl Scout. On a second interaction, Andrew Hogg went into details about the war with Iran, confirming that there are no plans to nuke Iran. But in the wake of the February assassination of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Hogg tells our journalists that President Trump is going to kill his son, Mojtaba Khamenei, if he, quote, doesn't change his ways.
Do you think we're actually going to
We're not moving the extent. We're not going to make it. We're not doing that now.
Yeah.
We're not thinking about nuking anybody.
Do you think we're going to kill one of them here this year?
It's all good. Yeah, I don't know the rules, but he might kill the next guy, the son.
His son?
Yeah, because the son took over. He won't be any different.
Oh, you think they would kill his son?
If he doesn't change his ways, then he can kill him.
The journalist goes on to ask Andrew Hogg about the March 2026 strike in Minab, Iran, which killed over 150 school children. It has been deemed a violation of international humanitarian law.
This is the moment a missile slammed into an Iranian base in Minab. Weapons experts tell CNN the wings and tail are consistent with a Tomahawk missile. This new video is the clearest evidence yet that suggests it was the United States that struck an elementary school next to that Revolutionary Guards base, killing scores of students.
To which Andrew coldly replies, quote, there's been collateral damage. They, meaning kids, always die in war.
I was hearing something that we killed kids in the car. Did we actually?
I'm sure there's been some collateral damage, yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, they always die in war, but if you fight, I mean, but...
Oh, we actually did kill kids out there?
Not intentionally, but yeah. Well, I'm sure we've killed civilians in Iraq, in Iran has three, look at every single possibility, what size weapon, we're trying to do here, so let's use this weapon versus that weapon. It might be safer. In the school over here, we identify what's here. It's an apartment building.
But perhaps the most disturbing of all, Andrew Hogg details how the U.S. is researching and developing nerve agents or chemical weapons in a laboratory in Aberdeen, Maryland.
So, nerve agent is a chemical weapon that, as you spray it on people, it will make a certain enzyme, which is called cholinesterase. It regulates your neural inhibitions, okay? So with this chemical, as a nerve agent, it kills that enzyme, and lungs won't work, your heart won't work, nothing will work. What we have is here in the same barrel.
The nerve agent that Andrew is describing here is sarin. It's a highly toxic human-made organophosphorus. Sarin acts as a potent inhibitor of enzymes, and over time, the binding becomes irreversible. In 1987, the U.S. joined the Chemical Weapons Convention, which bans the development, stockpiling, and use of chemical weapons. The U.S. had about 30,000 tons of chemical weapons, including nerve agents. In July 2023, the U.S. completed destruction of the last declared chemical weapons at the Bluegrass Army Depot in Kentucky. As long as the nerve agents are not weaponized, the U.S. is allowed to conduct research and development for scientific purposes such as preventative treatment. However, this becomes more concerning when Andrew Hug reveals that one of the chemists in that lab was so careless, refusing to wear appropriate safety gear, that she accidentally exposed herself to the nerve agent.
She was just being lazy, and she wore Crocs, and she, got lazy.
What? Who's she, or what did we?
She's a lab chemist. She's a lab tech. She's supposed to wear all this gear, and she's like, I don't like it. She just wore like Crocs and her own clothes.
Yeah.
And so it soaked in her clothes. And just soaked very well on her skin. So she could literally start touching stuff. Other people would touch like a door, and then people would die.
The journalist also questioned Andrew Hug on Ukraine and whether the diplomats were really using U.S. aid to buy themselves mansions and sports cars. And the nuclear branch chief confirms, quote, they stole our money. They bought houses, $100,000 cars. They can get themselves rich and go live in Dubai.
Like I said, I lived in Ukraine and worked there with the government.
Really?
That government is so corrupt. Like, they stole our money. Like, I worked on Obama's tax money that he sent. They just stole it, and they bought houses, cars, like $100,000 cars. They're officials in the government.
Yeah.
So they get their hands on the tax money from you and me.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, oh yeah, and then now that it's like 100 billion, 200 billion, they're like stealing it all. So.
Dang. Okay, so
Yeah,
why would they use that money for that? Wouldn't they need it for like nuclear weapons?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. But but if they can get themselves rich and leave and go live in Dubai, that's better than they don't care about the people. No, they couldn't care less about the people.
Andrew Hug even details that he personally witnessed 10 Ukrainian officials steal $1 million each and immediately spend it on luxury cars.
Like, you can tell about Ukraine and how corrupt. And like, when I was there, they stole $1 million one day. That was the first thing I saw stolen, was $1 million, and they bought these guys that make $350 a month in their political job. Each guy, 10 guys, stole $1 million. They each bought a $100,000 car, like BMW 7, Range Rover, all $100,000 cars from the money Obama gave. Yeah.
The branch chief claims he reported it to the Obama White House, to which they replied, quote, we don't care.
Did anything ever happen with that?
I reported it, and guess what the White House said? We don't care. Don't talk about it. We don't want that in the paper because it makes Obama look bad. It looks like he's not in control. Yeah, they don't care. It's like, it's $1 million. We don't care.
Toward the end of the interaction, Andrew Hug waited for the journalist outside of the bathroom and confronted her, asking whether she is a spy, indicating that Andrew is well aware that the information he was spilling could be severely incriminating if she, in fact, were a spy.
Hey!
Just waiting for you.
Love you. That's so sweet.
You're not spying. You're not spying, though, right?
You're just powerful.
But you're not spying, right?
You're just powerful. And I like that. Let's go back to the table.
I'll go back.
Okay, sounds good.
As political tensions appear to be reaching a boiling point all over the world, and the U.S. officially entered a state of open warfare with Iran, national security and discretion is more important than ever. Andrew Hug is lucky that he was talking to an OMG undercover journalist and not an Iranian spy, as he casually discussed Trump's strategy and intentions. When a top nuclear official is this loose-lipped about our defensive measures, Iranian war plans, locations of nukes, while our country is actively at war, it puts every single one of us in mortal danger. And as always, if you are on the inside of any government agency, federal, state, or local office, and you see corruption, if you know that the American people are being lied to, reach out to us. Email us at tips@o'keefemediagroup.com or text us at 914-491-9395. An OMG journalist will get right back to you. Stay tuned.
This video is brought to you by Citizen Journalism Foundation.
There it is. You've seen it. A top U.S. nuclear official revealing quite a bit. And we have several headlines that could come from this report. So let's kind of walk you through it off the top. I should say off the bat. I think the fact that this individual, top U.S. nuclear official, is spilling the beans to a woman he just met on a first and second date, it's extremely dangerous. Andrew Hugg is lucky he was, again, speaking with our journalist and not an Iranian spy. He revealed the locations of underground nukes.
So you said there's missiles underground in Colorado?
Yeah. In the Cold War days, we had them like all over the place.
Wow.
He even revealed methods the U.S. would use to defend against foreign nuclear attacks.
Like, we have all these sensors in space, we have radars, all these sensors to detect a launch.
You detect the launch coming from someone else?
Yeah, with space satellites, with radars, you'll see it. On the radar, you actually see the thing flying. You'll know how big it is, the speed, you'll know that's a missile. I mean, you can tell all this stuff.
Mind you, this is a first date in Virginia on a Sunday, and this man is giving a stranger that he doesn't know nuclear logistics over mimosas. Quite strange. He even revealed a part of the procedure for how a launch of the nukes would actually go about, using a Girl Scout as an example.
This is serious. We were always trained, if a Girl Scout gives you a message, a launch message, she knocks on your door, goes, here you go, she gives you a launch message on a box of cookies, she wrote it down. If it passes all the checks, go. If she just passes it on to you, that's why we're trying to say, no matter how you get it, take action. Because that's how you have to do it in a war.
That's a shocking amount of details being revealed to our undercover journalists. One of the biggest confirmations we got from this report was the fact that there was an improper handling of a chemical nerve agent it was by, I guess I should say, a chemical agent at a facility in Maryland.
She's their lab coach. She's a lab tech. She's supposed to wear all this gear, and she's like, I don't like it. She just wore like Crocs and her own clothes. Yeah. And so it's soaked in her clothes. And just soaked very well on her skin. So she could literally start touching stuff. Other people would touch like a door, and then people would die.
Now, it's not news that the facility exists. The Aberdeen provided ground in Maryland is a single small-scaled facility, and it is used for protective purposes production under Chemical Weapons Convention reporting and inspection rules. From what we've been revealing, we hope that the nerve agent is being properly handled, obviously, according to the Chemical Weapons Convention. We also are wondering what happened to that lab chemist who was exposed to the chemical nerve agent as well. There's no recent reports, have come about citing anything about that lab having that spill. And it is obviously quite concerning. Now, again, the chemical nerve agent for this report from 2019, which we cannot confirm is about the same individual Andrew Hugg is speaking about. Hopefully, we find out more about this agency after this report is released. It's worth noting as well that the United States reported in July of 2023 that they had destruction of chemical weapons. It's a stockpile, of course. Andrew Hugg also confirmed that not to be the case. Now, as we continue to go through all of this, it's really important that we highlight everything. So let's set the context for what else was revealed in this report. On February 28th on this year, an elementary school in Minab, Iran, was destroyed by a missile strike. At least 175 people were reportedly killed, and at least 120 school children were apparently in that building when the strike took place and lost their lives. When the strike first occurred, it was not known whether the U.S. and Israel were responsible for it. When we first asked about the strike on March 7th, President Trump blamed Iran. Let's watch.
Did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 175 people?
In my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Higson? It was Iran who did that?
We're certainly investigating.
Still investigating.
But the only side that targets civilians is Iran.
Now, keep in mind, again, they're telling you that they didn't really know who was responsible for it, but reports are starting to come out that there's evidence piling up that the U.S., in fact, was responsible for that strike. Now, several U.S. news agencies confirmed that video footage shows a U.S. Tomahawk missile was intended to be used on the school. The latest in the military investigation into the airstrike was released by the New York Times. Since that March 11th New York Times article, there has been not been any official confirmation ongoing about the military investigation into all of this. But now, to add to that investigation, we have a top-ranking U.S. nuclear official confirming to our undercover journalists that the U.S. did intend to kill kids in Iran, saying, quote, not intentionally, but yeah, they did die in war. They do die in war. Now, let's watch that clip one more time.
I was hearing something that we killed kids in war. Did we actually?
I'm sure there's been some collateral damage. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, they always die in war. Yeah. If you fight, I mean, so, but.
Oh, we actually did kill kids out there?
Not intentionally, but yeah.
Now, again, Hug is saying that he doesn't believe that was intentional, but folks, there's a lot more information that's coming out from that strike. Now, U.S. nuclear official, again, Andrew Hug, also revealed the internal nuclear strategy to the date that he was on. Again, he's lucky that he was speaking to an undercover journalist and not an Iranian spy.
Do you think we're actually going to...
We're not moving nukes to... We're not going to nuke it.
You're going to say, like, prepping, kind of...
Yeah, we're not doing that now.
Yeah.
We're not thinking about nuking anybody.
Now, another big revelation that came from all of this had to do with the Ukrainian officials who allegedly were defrauding American taxpayers by the millions and billions.
Like I said, I lived in Ukraine and worked there with the government.
Really?
That government is so corrupt. Like, they stole our money. Like, I worked on Obama's tax money that he sent. They just stole it, and they bought houses, cars, like $100,000 cars. They're officials in the government.
Yeah.
So they get their hands on the tax money from you and me.
Oh, my gosh.
And they're like, oh, yeah. And then now that it's like $100 billion, $200 billion, they're like stealing it all. So.
Dang.
And guess what? Democrat Barack Hussein Obama didn't do anything about it.
When I was there, they stole $1 million one day. That was the first thing I saw stolen was $1 million. Each guy, 10 guys stole $1 million. They each bought a $100,000 car, like BMW 7, Range Rover, all $100,000 cars from the money Obama gave.
Did anything ever happen with that?
I reported it, and guess what the White House said? We don't care. Don't talk about it. We don't want that in the paper because it makes Obama look bad. It looks like he's not in control.
Really?
Yeah, they don't care. It's like, it's $1 million. We don't care.
That's the report released. When we come back, we will have Colonel Douglas McGregor joining me, and we've got a lot to discuss. We'll be right back.
When I'm out in the field exposing corruption, meeting with confidential sources, I think a lot about privacy, security, and staying connected when it matters most. In fact, I was just in the field in Los Angeles. I had to go inside someone's home, and no one could hear what I was talking about. I didn't want anybody to know what I was doing or where I was. I put my phone into one of these bags. Remember, your phone is constantly broadcasting signals about where you are and what you're doing. GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, RFID, and all of it depends upon cell towers that can go down at any moment. That's why more people, including journalists in my line of work, are turning to the privacy and preparedness gear at sat123.com, which is where I got this bag. My team carries this bag. I carry this signal blocking pouch anywhere I go. I put my phone inside of it. I zip it up. It blocks cell signals, GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and RFID. And when my phone goes inside, it's completely cut off from the outside world. No tracking, no remote access, no unwanted signals. Sat123 also makes Faraday backpacks, backpacks with built-in pockets and level 3A ballistic protections. Your electronics stay secure. The backpack itself adds another layer of protection if you ever need it. And when it comes to communication, nothing beats a satellite phone. Satellite phones connect directly to satellites, not cell towers, which means they work almost anywhere, even when networks go down during storms, outages, or emergencies. I actually had my Starlink go down when I was out on the water, and I used my satellite phone. It's good to have both. If you want to protect your devices, your privacy, and your ability to stay connected, check this out. Go to darkbags.com, maybe easier to remember, darkbags.com for Faraday protection gear, and SAT123, that's SAT123.com for satellite phones. I have 2 of them, and I use this bag. And the team at SAT123 is helping us out by providing a nice discount for all of you watching this live show. You can use promo code OMG for 10% off your order. Stay prepared, stay connected, stay protected. Darkbags.com, SAT123.com for satellite phones and these bags. There's a whole science behind eliciting information out of people.
We leverage online dating platforms like Hinge, Bumble, or Tinder.
Until you match with someone of public importance that you go meet with undercover.
Little did I know I was talking to a senior person within the CIA.
Are you recording me?
No, I'm not okay with this. Stop it.
Welcome back to On the Inside with James O'Keefe. I'm not James O'Keefe. I am Breanna Morello, filling in for James. If you're not familiar with my work, let me give you a little rundown. I'm an independent journalist. I've also hosted a show over on InfoWars called The American Journal. But I've done a lot of work in the mainstream media and then made my way over to the independent side of things. And as many of you guys know, James and I have crossed paths several times. He's done incredible, incredible work. And it is an honor to be with you all today to break down their latest report. Now, again, this is O'Keefe Media Group, who's coordinating their efforts with Citizen Journalism Foundation. Now, again, they've released this Bombshell report, and it is quite the report to unpack. So I want to keep going through the information that we've uncovered so far. Now, just to give you some background in case you're joining us now, and we welcome you, of course, as we were digging through all of this, this was a date that a top nuclear official over in the U.S. Army was on. And it's kind of interesting when you go through it all, because again, I don't understand how these people sit here and go on date and then disclose all of this information. I mean, folks, gentlemen, most women probably really aren't interested in hearing about nuclear logistics. I am, but I don't think many women are on a first date. Well, it's been interesting to kind of sift through all the information that's come about, and Andrew Hugg is the individual you've seen in the video. We've gone through the clips extensively and played the full report. Now, I kind of want to walk you through and give my commentary on all of this as we wait to have an expert weigh in on the subject matter. Now, again, Andrew Hugg might be a nice guy, but he discloses information that he shouldn't be disclosing. He's not in a position to disclose information, especially when he thinks he's on a date. In fact, he knows all of this because he made his way over to the bathroom while our undercover journalist was in there. And just from a standpoint of intimidation, that in itself is actually quite scary. I mean, he knew he was saying things that he shouldn't be saying. Now, we've obviously reached out to Andrew Hugg to get his fair shake on all of this because we want to be as fair and balanced as possible. We haven't yet heard back from Hugg. And so obviously that is deeply, deeply concerning. But I think one of the most impactful parts in all of this, and I'll walk you through it in case you're just joining us, because this one's really, really important. And I guess we'll play clip 103. He talks about the nuclear locations, the nuke locations. I don't understand how this is small talk on a first date. Take a listen.
So you said there's missiles underground in Colorado?
Yeah. In the Cold War days, we had them like all over the place.
Now, obviously, that's very, very concerning. And I don't know why you're talking about this on a first date. Listen, folks, this is a national security issue. And people like this who have access to information are out there just spilling the beans. I mean, again, we keep saying it. Thankfully, they were talking to our own journalists, but they weren't talking to an Iranian spy. This is a massive, massive problem. Now, again, we also reached out to the U.S. Army about this. And we're waiting to get comment back from them. Of course, we're going to be as fair and balanced in this report as possible. But it answers a lot of questions I know you all at home had. I mean, we've sat back, we've watched as many people sat back and, at the Pentagon tried asking the White House and Pentagon officials like Pete Hegseth questions regarding what's going on in Iran. And we haven't received much in the way of information. So joining me now to discuss is retired Army Colonel Douglas McGregor is joining us now. He's a decorated combat veteran. I know you're all very familiar with him. And he does an incredible job at weighing in on the subject matter. Colonel, it's a pleasure to have you on the program today as I fill in for James O'Keefe. Thank you for being here. I just want to start this up with just getting your reaction to this report. What is your reaction after seeing this undercover date with a top U.S. official?
I have no idea. I don't know if it's true or not. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing here. As we're sitting here and watching, as we go through the video, we're watching as he discloses information. A lot of us are scratching our head wondering why this would be disclosed. And I kind of want to walk through a little bit of it because it was deeply, deeply concerning. He talks about a nerve agent being leaked at a facility in Maryland. I kind of want to get your reaction to that. Let's take a listen to clip 106.
She's their
lab chemist. She's a lab tech. She's supposed to wear all this gear, and she's like, I don't like it. She just wore like Crocs and her own clothes.
Yeah.
And so it's soaked in her clothes. And just soaked very well on her skin. So she could literally start touching stuff. Other people would touch like a door, and then people would die.
This is something we haven't heard about. So this is the first time I think we are learning about this. How concerned are you about these possible leaks?
I don't know anything about it. Frankly, this is hearsay. I don't know who this man is. The notion that something like this could happen simply demonstrates how hopelessly unprofessional everybody in the organization is. This is just something I really don't know anything about. It sounds ridiculous. If it's true, then numbers of people should be taken into custody and interrogated and perhaps receive punishment. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, we're still scratching our head, and we've reached out for comment on all of this, and unfortunately, they have not gotten back to us yet. We are expecting to hear back from the U.S. Army, though, possibly within the next few moments. So we'll keep our audience in the loop when that does happen. But I also want to get your take on this, too, because they talk extensively about the strike in Iran that had reportedly 120 children were killed. Now, the Pentagon is currently investigating all of this, and obviously this is something that so many people at home have been concerned about because 120 children being killed in this strike was deeply, deeply concerning. Your reaction so far, because again, the New York Times has been doing some uncovering in all of this and so have other outlets, but the U.S. hasn't taken any type of responsibility for this. What do you make of that?
Well, President Trump is reluctant to take responsibility for much of anything. If he's made a misstatement, if he's said something that was false, he never retracts anything. He follows Roy Cohn's basic rules: deny, 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 attack, 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 and then twist everything into a personal victory. Having been involved with the Air Force in a previous air campaign, the only thing I would say, based upon what little I know, is that this was obviously a horrible mistake, and we should essentially take responsibility for it and apologize. I don't know of anybody in the targeting business in the United States Air Force who would deliberately target children in a school. Makes no sense. Now, where the target came from, who nominated it, how many targeteers examined it, I don't know. And someone asked me whether or not they'd used artificial intelligence to pick targets, which the Israelis, of course, have done with great damage in Gaza. I don't know. It's my instant response is to say, let's wait and find out from the investigation. But I don't know of anybody in the Air Force who would deliberately do such a thing.
Do you trust with whatever the kind of investigation is exposed when they finally give us all the information that they bring forward in the Pentagon once this is all finalized? Do you expect that the American people will accept whatever the results of that investigation truly are? Because I think a lot of Americans don't really trust the government right now.
I think government credibility is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't even figure out what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. We had the largest mass shooting in history in Las Vegas. We still don't know what happened there. So quite frankly, I think everyone is extremely skeptical. And let's be frank, President Trump, and I liked him and I know him somewhat, and I am surprised at some of the things he said and done recently. But at this point, anything he says is suspect. He seems to be manipulating the stock market with his various comments, all of which have turned out in retrospect to be false. And right now he keeps insisting there are going to be talks in Islamabad again, and there's no evidence that the Iranians have agreed to do it. So, yes, I think all of us can be skeptical of whatever we're told.
Yeah, and it was interesting to hear, and I kind of want to hear your reaction to this, because I was watching the president as he was going back and forth on Truth Social about the Strait of Hormuz being open and then being closed. He also said that we helped Iran clear any type of explosives that might have been present. It was quite strange, the weekend coverage and all of this. What was your reaction to the president's back and forth? Do you think that maybe possibly negotiations aren't going how he expected and he's trying to play it down a little bit, or do you think it's really just truly this back and forth going on between the Iranian government and U.S. officials?
I don't see much back and forth in operation. And I think a lot of what President Trump says is without foundation. Knowing a little bit about the Navy's mine clearing capability, the notion that we've gone in there and done very much is ridiculous. That's an area of great weakness in the United States Navy. Clearing mines today is extremely dangerous. It's always been dangerous. We have a few ships, very few, and as far as I know, they are not in the Gulf. I don't see any evidence for the back and forth between President Trump and the Iranians. I think President Trump is either making things up or he's being misinformed by his inner circle.
Yeah, and earlier today, he also posted on Truth Social about the reports that there were about 8 Iranian women who are set to be executed, and was asking for the Iranian regime to hold and not to kill those women, and said that it would be a step in the right direction for negotiation. So again, this has been back and forth, the president talking about these negotiations, and we still have not seen any evidence that there are really any solid negotiations happening. But the president has also called for other countries to step in and also help advocate for the Iranian government to allow ships to go through the Strait of Hormuz. Your reaction to him calling on other countries to also step in? Because I remember seeing a German official saying, why is he asking this of us, as if he didn't have a plan heading into all of this when he started doing these strikes? Obviously, that's something that he should have planned for.
Obviously, and he has no strategy. That's evident.
Yeah.
And he established his initial goal of causing an uprising, which never happened, and then bombing after 3 or 4 days on the assumption that the government would fall apart. This is the same man who set himself up in a picture as Jesus Christ. And then when he was confronted about it, said, well, I was thinking of myself as a physician trying to heal the sick. I don't think there's anything at this point that we should take seriously from President Trump. I've got to be frank with you. And I think we're heading into another extension of this war, which is going to do terrible damage to the global economy. If anything, every major industrial power in the world is furious with us because we acted without first thinking. We acted without consulting any of our friends and allies. And now we're in a terrible position. We are responsible for sending the world into what, right at this point, is going to be a serious global recession. But if we bomb again, would probably turn into a serious global depression. So there are no friends out there left. We've alienated or offended everyone. And we look ridiculous because we set out to do something that was unattainable, and that was to remove the government and now to try and take control of the Strait of Hormuz. We can't do it. It's an impossibility for our armed forces.
Yeah, and I think many Americans have been sitting back and trying to get some answers in regards to why now? Why did we now decide to strike Iran? And I know there's obviously people out there saying that this was led by Israel, and Israel was going to lead these strikes, and the United States kind of was dragged into this. But again, the president and the Pentagon not giving us any concrete evidence as to why now when it comes to striking Iran. I want to thank you, Colonel, for joining the program today and getting your reaction to our bombshell report. And we look forward to hearing from the Army as well. Colonel, thank you for joining us.
Good luck. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate your time as always, so thank you. All right, guys, when we come back, we've got a lot more to discuss. R.C. Maxwell will be joining the show, and he's got some sources over at the Pentagon who are talking to him. We look forward to having him on in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
He was basically admitting the fact that the agencies committed treason on camera.
There's a whole science behind eliciting information out of people.
We leverage online dating platforms like Hinge, Bumble, or Tinder.
Swipe repeatedly until you match with someone of public importance that you go meet with undercover
individuals who have the potential to help us expose any sort of corruption.
Disney, Meta, the IRS, MSNBC, the NFL, Department of Defense, we've done it all.
I set up several online dating profiles, and little did I know I was talking to a senior person within the CIA.
This is what I do for I work in CIA. We collect information from him.
From Trump?
This guy was talking about how they withheld important intelligence from the president.
This investigation was much bigger than any of us anticipated. All I could think of was, do not get caught.
Are you recording me?
No, of course not. My heart started pounding.
You get to a point where they're that suspicious of you, you gotta get out of there.
Will you open that purse, please?
I knew I was busted. He was convinced there was a hidden camera in my purse.
No,
I'm not okay with this. Stop it.
We're standing up to the powers that tried to discredit us, silence us, smear us, raid us, and throw us in jail. They've awakened a sleeping giant. We're building a movement of transparency and accountability in both the public and private sectors, because we run from nothing, we hide from nothing. And when you join and get your full access pass, you fuel a movement for truth. We are the media now.
There's a whole science behind eliciting information out of people.
We leverage online dating platforms like Hinge, Bumble, or Tinder.
Until you match with someone of public importance that you go meet with undercover.
Little did I know I was talking to a senior person within the CIA.
Are you recording me?
No, I'm not okay with this. Stop it.
Welcome back to On the Inside with James O'Keefe. I am Breanna Morello, filling in for my friend, Mr. James O'Keefe. And we've got a lot more to discuss, so joining me to do just that is Pentagon reporter for Red State, Mr. R.C. Maxwell, joining the show today. R.C., I'm honored to have you on the program because I saw you put out a tweet yesterday, and you were hearing little whispers from your sources over at the Pentagon. What are you learning?
Well, look, I've certainly tried to maintain a friendly relationship with members of the Pentagon press team. They've reciprocated and they've kind of been open with me about kind of their reaction. And, they've certainly told me some things off the record that I can't disclose. But what I can say is that given the myriad of issues that this investigation covers, from chemical weapons to the disclosure of sensitive information to contradicting the entire administration on a significant casualty incident involving civilians, this takes a lot of crossing of T's and dotting I's, for lack of a better term. So this is perhaps the most bombshell, I think, report from the Pentagon I think we've seen. We've seen a lot of reports that's been framed as bombshell that really has been denied by the Pentagon. But I think this is something that is really hard to deny, Breanna, obviously, given the visual and audio evidence. And that's, of course, what makes James O'Keefe's journalism and his foundation very important, because this is the kind of reporting that is direct. And when you consider the reporting, you have an acknowledgement of casualties, you have a disclosure of chemical weapons, I'm assuming research, because the pure development of chemical weapons is, of course, illegal, as you pointed to earlier. This is a bombshell investigation. I can't say that enough. This is something clearly that is bombshell, given how long it's taking the Pentagon to give an on-the-record response. I had my own scoop myself weeks ago about something that was a little embarrassing to high-ranking Pentagon officials, and they kind of was able to give me multiple comments quickly. So this is complex.
Yeah, RC, you and I are both credentials at the Pentagon, and when I do reach out, we do get responses pretty quickly, but we are waiting now still for the U.S. Army to give us our response in regards to Andrew Hugg, because that is apparently where he's employed right now, and so we're waiting for that. But we do know, and I kind of want to touch base with you on this, we do know currently the Pentagon does have an ongoing investigation into that strike in Iran, where they're claiming there was over 120 school children killed in the attack, and we've seen the president kind of distance himself from it, and now we're hearing from Hugg himself saying, yeah, I think we're pretty certain that although it was not intentional, I want to be very clear on that, it was not intentional, that yes, that was us. This is why so many Americans have been very upset with what's going on right now currently in Iran, because they feel like that we jumped too soon. We haven't really seen any evidence that Iran was an intimate threat to the United States right now. So we sit here, we watch that go down, and we're still waiting for the results of this Pentagon investigation. What do you expect from it?
Well, look, I expect the investigation, like many things in government, to kind of be slow walked and good. And like, that's not any specific attack on the current administration. That's just how things in government work. I think we're just getting information about the Afghanistan botched withdrawal. So it's likely that we're going to get some sort of final information years down the line on this. However, when you analyze the evidence and even the defense that you see from the United States government, it's clear that this incident did happen. And it's the only thing that's unclear at this point is what led to this mistake. This isn't the first civilian casualty. The United States doesn't intend on civilian casualties ever. Many of its enemies do, of course. However, this is perhaps the most striking civilian casualty incident we've seen in quite some time as a result of United States action. Of course, you had the Biden administration who, in retaliation to the botched Afghanistan withdrawal, they drone struck like a family. And that was, of course, severely more limited than what you see with the situation at the school in Iran, given the casualties was in the 100 plus. So this is significant fallout from this investigation, this undercover investigation from O'Keefe, because it's really kind of forcing the government to be on record on things they didn't really want to go on record about. So look, there's a lot of unanswered questions from Epic Fury. I still think it's unanswered whether or not Iran was an imminent threat to the United States. Iran has certainly responded sporadically, attacking civilians, and certainly in hindsight, it would seem problematic, right, for Iran to kind of have these arsenals and these stockpiles of weapons. But of course, Breanna, that's just conjecture. You've never seen Iran really engage in utilizing its offensive capabilities, although, of course, Iran engages in the use of its proxy terrorists. They give many of their proxies FPV drones and stuff like that. So it's not to say that Iran is entirely, obviously, innocent in the situation. It's just a very complicated situation. And this investigation certainly makes it more complicated for not just the Pentagon, but for the entire Trump administration.
Yeah, and RC, I want to get to this as well, because I've been very critical of the Obama regime when they were droning innocent people. And we talked about this quite often. And this was just a few years back. So, we have to be fair and balanced here and make sure we hold all administrations accountable if that's the standards we're putting out there. But since we're talking about the Obama administration, too, I kind of want to swing this back in here, because I think this is actually another bombshell on top of the bombshell reporting that was in this report. But, we're talking about the Ukrainians stealing our taxpayer money. And we've always known this. I've talked about it all the time. When you look at who's owning homes in Miami, we know there's a lot of Ukrainian officials who do just that, who have these beautiful big mega mansions in Miami. And you always wonder, well, how do they get these things? Well, this report kind of gives us some more insight into all of that. And again, Hugg is saying, when I saw that they were stealing money, our taxpayer money, I tried reporting it under the Obama administration, and they told me just keep it moving. Take a listen.
When I was there, they stole $1 million one day. That was the first thing I saw stolen, was $1 million. Each guy, 10 guys stole $1 million. They each bought a $100,000 car, like BMW 7, Range Rover, all $100,000 cars from the money Obama gave.
Did anything ever happen with that?
I reported it, and guess what the White House said? We don't care. Don't talk about it. We don't want that in the paper because it makes Obama look bad. It looks like he's not in control. Yeah, they don't care. It's like, it's $1 million. We don't care.
All right, Hugg says he reported it, but they didn't want to look bad. Your reaction?
Well, look, that's significant. You alluded to earlier, a lot of Americans kind of knew this was happening, but we didn't quite kind of see it broken down in those terms. We saw even the Obama administration and the Trump administration use vague academic geopolitical language when it comes to Ukraine needs to sift up its corruption problems. This guy kind of just states it plainly. He said 10 of them took $1 million, and he said they were buying Range Rovers, $1 million cars, and taking trips to Dubai. So we've never really had an explanation in such animated terms of exactly what Ukrainian officials were doing with taxpayer dollars. And I think this is a lead that's probably going to get chased down. There are my colleagues who work in the State Department, who are journalists, who are going to chase this lead down and ask questions. And this is probably going to be something else that gets kicked down the line. And it's probably going to impact modern geopolitical affairs when you consider the fact that Ukraine is actively seeking still taxpayer dollars to fund their ongoing conflict with Russia. This investigation, which is quite literally the result of one gentleman's eager desire to connect with a female, is significant, and perhaps this is a warning. I mean, you said it also earlier. Not a lot of women are interested in nuclear logistics or Ukrainian financial corruption, but this guy spilled the beans. He had some kind of clue, but this is probably going to result in significant intel training from some of our top brass.
Yeah, I mean, RC, I'm probably the only girl in the world who wants to hear about nuclear logistics. It
You
spikes
may,
my
Brett,
interest.
you may.
But not many, and it's for the wrong reasons. It's not because I'm, want to have a mimosa with a 50-year-old man. But RC, before we go, I kind of want to get your reaction too and your commentary on all of this, because there's a lot happening in this report alone. Now, I know a lot of us have been skeptical of the DOJ's job when it comes to filing charges against a lot of these top officials, whether it's the Biden regime or the Obama regime. Do you think, based on what we've heard so far, that there will actually be a legitimate investigation into any of these accusations might actually land criminal charges?
It's highly unlikely in my decade-plus experience in government that this is going to actually result in any accountability. The only accountability that's likely, Ms. Morello, is likely this gentleman is going to be placed on leave and he's going to get a discharge. It probably won't even be dishonorable because, again, brass protects brass. And again, I'm not saying that this individual's one moment of lapse should discredit his entire career of military service, but I don't think there's going to be significant accountability for this, really, other than the accountability that O'Keefe Media can place really on this. And it's up to me, journalists like myself, to kind of take my own fraction of this. And I'm going to reach out to sources and continue to chase down leads related to this. But, this is significant. And I think this shows that O'Keefe's tactics, whether exposing something in the Obama administration or the Trump administration, it merely exposes rot in government. And I think this individual, he said some things that certainly warrant some investigation, but I don't think this individual should probably be a branch chief, especially not in charge of sensitive information that we all know about. I guess props to O'Keefe for blurring out the location of a nuclear stockpile. I guess we don't need a bunch of streamers going and trying to record that information. So I guess you guys have a little bit more understanding of U.S. confidential information than Mr. Hug.
Yeah, well, Mr. Hug, we wish him the best. And if he does like to provide comment on this report, he is more than welcome to do just that. We would love to have his perspective shared on this report. R.C. Maxwell, thank you for all that you do over at Red State. We greatly appreciate you jumping on with us to react to this report, so thank you.
Thanks, anytime.
All right, folks, we got more to discuss in just a bit. As many of you guys know, last week I had, I was on with Savannah Hernandez. I've been working with her on the assault that took place against her outside of an ICE facility. I've got a bit of an update for you, plus an update regarding Alex Jones as well. Don't go anywhere.
He was basically admitting the fact that the agencies committed treason on camera.
There's a whole science behind eliciting information out of people.
We leverage online dating platforms like Hinge, Bumble, or Tinder.
Swipe repeatedly until you match with someone of public importance that you go meet with undercover
individuals who have the potential to help us expose any sort of corruption.
Disney, Meta, the IRS, MSNBC, the NFL, the Department of Defense, we've done it all.
I set up several online dating profiles, and little did I know I was talking to a senior person within the CIA.
This is what I do for when I work in CIA. We collect information from him.
From Trump?
This guy was talking about how they withheld important intelligence from the president.
This investigation was much bigger than any of us anticipated. All I could think of was, do not get caught.
Are you recording me?
No, of course not.
My heart started pounding.
You get to a point where they're that suspicious of you, got to get out of there.
Oh, you open that purse, please.
I knew I was busted. He was convinced there was a hidden camera in my
I'm not
purse.
going to do anything.
No, I'm not okay with this. Stop it.
We're standing up to the powers that tried to discredit us, silence us, smear us, raid us, and throw us in jail. They've awakened a sleeping giant. We're building a movement of transparency and accountability in both the public and private sectors, because we run from nothing, we hide from nothing. And when you join and get your full access pass, you fuel a movement for truth. We are the media now.
There's a whole science behind eliciting information out of people.
We leverage online dating platforms like Hinge, Bumble, or Tinder.
Until you match with someone of public importance that you go meet with undercover.
Little did I know I was talking to a senior person within the CIA.
Are you recording me?
No, I'm not okay with this. Stop it.
Welcome back to On the Inside with James O'Keefe. I'm Breanna Morello, filling in for my buddy James. A lot we've been sifting through. As many of you guys know, we've released the Bombshell report, and if you missed it, you might want to hit rewind on that one because it's a good report, a very good report that will probably lead to a ton of investigations into a lot of situations you at home weren't, being told the truth about. Andrew Hugg is the individual who we exposed today in an undercover date that he was on. And thankfully, he was on with one of our journalists and not an Iranian spy. And he exposed a lot. So if you missed that, make sure you take a look back because the full report is absolutely explosive. But I want to shift gears a little bit because many of you guys know last week I was here, but I was on with Savannah Hernandez. Savannah is an incredible journalist. She works over at Turning Point and she exposes a lot. And as a result of that, she is constantly under attack, both on social media, but also assaulted physically. And Savannah is someone who I've grown very close to. And, I love to speak to Savannah and give her advice on, how we could all become better journalists and what we should be working on. And Savannah, well, she's a beast out there. It broke my heart when Savannah reached out to me to tell me she was assaulted while covering a protest outside of an ICE facility in Minnesota. Now, Savannah, again, is a very small woman. She's can hold her own. She's not afraid, but she's a small woman. And so when we sat back and we watched footage, a live stream of Savannah being attacked by a group of individuals, my heart sunk for her because I didn't know she was currently there. And I had gotten a message and I knew that it happened 20 minutes before I got the text message from Savannah. And the reason why it was so important for all of us to get involved in this, because it was quite clear that Savannah was being ganged up on by a group of individuals, in my opinion, and was being attacked. Now, here's the interesting part in all of this. The father that you see in this, his first name is Chris. He has been someone who has been very criticized. Why? Well, because as you can see in video, and they claim that they're innocent, the family, he pushes Savannah while her back is turned. She's walking away from a situation, trying to get out of it, and he pushes her. Now, it's not even just that, too. There's also the other stream that we played for you last week where you hear him instructing his daughter, Paige, to go out there and to blow a whistle in Savannah's ear, which obviously would cause hearing issues and is assault. Now, here's the thing, right? The family now is obviously getting a lot of backlash, and thankfully, it's one thing that we could agree on both sides of the aisle. Women shouldn't be assaulted by men, or, if you want to go there, women shouldn't be assaulted by other women when they're just simply going to cover a protest. But the problem here is Chris Struski, sorry, I got to brush up on my Ukrainian a bit, but he's been fired up about this because of all the backlash he's been receiving. Why? Well, because he thinks that he isn't a violent individual, and the internet's fired up over his response yesterday. Take a listen.
Maybe you guys do get doxxed, but I don't know if you guys are getting the same type of stuff that we're getting. And it's nonstop. It's hundreds of phone calls a day. It's text messages and them trying to get into all of our social media accounts and contacting our friends, our neighbors, our family. The rest of our family is getting doxxed as well. It's not just us. It's my sons, their wives, like people that had nothing to do with anything. It's a little overwhelming and it makes me second guess even living in this country, to be honest with you, with all this going on. I've never had this happen in my life.
All right, the reason why this has me fired up is because he's playing victim in all of this. It's quite clear, in my opinion, again, that he is targeting Savannah. Again, there's a lot of evidence to back just that up. Now, right now, what's going on right now in Hemp County, that's in Minnesota, the prosecutor there was given the information from the sheriff's office. Now, I'm someone who is constantly advocating for victims. I've been doing this before I became a journalist. I've been trying to help victims out of crimes. And so I kind of know how things go. So I stepped in to communicate directly with the prosecutors in this case, just because I wanted to make sure that they had all the evidence. Now, hear me out. Savannah has a concussion. Again, you see her getting pushed to the ground and her head jerks back. It's quite clear that there is an injury there. She also has a sprain in her neck. She also has a sprain in her knee. And she has multiple bruises on her body from this assault. So this is a serious assault and one that can't be taken lightly. Now, unfortunately, the prosecutors initially charged both Chris and Paige, that's the father and the daughter, with just a misdemeanor offense for assault. Now, there's a mother in all of this, Deanna, and she has not yet been criminally charged. And again, that's concerning because she's seen several times, in my opinion, assaulting Savannah Hernandez. And there's a lot of video to back that up. Now, we've sent over all of the information over to the prosecutor's office because it seems like the sheriff's office was kind of not very aggressive in making sure they gathered all the information. So we're currently waiting to see if the prosecutor is going to file upgraded charges in all of this. I've never seen a situation, though, where the prosecutors go with the lowest charge possible. Keep in mind, too, Savannah was also assaulted by two other women, or I should say supposedly women, who decided to pull out sex toys and slap Savannah in it. They slap her in the neck, the head, and in the face with these sex toys. I'll spare you the details as to what those sex toys were. But the reality of it is that should have never happened in the first place. And if it was a man who was doing that to a female, you bet there'd be charges. So in this new era of equality, all five should be held accountable. Now, again, I'm just advocating for them to be criminally charged in all of this. And it's something we're still waiting on the prosecutors to do. As we sit back and we wait to see if there's any updates on all this, let me just remind you that's the same prosecutor that just recently filed 2 felony assault charges on ICE agents because they claim that ICE agents had assaulted individuals in Minnesota. So again, they seem to know what felony assault is, but whether or not they use it, liberal prosecutor, in Savannah's case, well, we'll just have to sit back and watch. Now, I know many of you guys probably saw this news yesterday, and Alex Jones has been doing some of his own reports on this. Now, again, let me just remind you, just last month I had left InfoWars, but it's not on bad terms. I'll be working with Alex in the future, of course, helping him build up his new company, which we look forward to. But there was news that dropped yesterday. The Onion is claiming that it now owns InfoWars. And so it plans to make it a parody of itself. And this logo has now made its way onto the internet. Now, obviously, folks, I mean, InfoWars is nothing without Alex Jones. Even James O'Keefe said that. You could pull him away, that being Alex, but there's nothing there without Alex. InfoWars will not be profitable. And no one's going to tune in. No one's going to watch these parodies. Alex Jones equals InfoWars. It doesn't work any other way. And James is right. It doesn't work any other way. As we sit back and we wait to see if this is final, let me just remind you, we know that the government was heavily involved in making sure that Alex lost InfoWars. Unfortunately, under this new administration, we haven't gotten much help. I've been reaching out to the DOJ for assistance in all of this, and we know for a fact that Ed Martin was looking into it when he was running the weaponization division, which was abruptly shut down. And unfortunately, we've got nothing from it. So it's very frustrating to sit back and watch as Alex is losing literally everything. I mean, he created InfoWars. That was his baby, similar to James, who created Project Veritas, and we saw how that worked out. This is what's going on, folks, in this country right now. The Supreme Court didn't want to weigh in on Alex's case, and I think it was cowardly. Whether you agree with what Alex said that day or not, or what Alex was saying, that's not what's up for discussion here. Do we truly have a freedom of speech in this country? Alex made multiple offers to those victims' families and tried his best to apologize, make things right, smooth things over. But a corrupt kangaroo court decided, no, we're taking over. We're taking your media outlet. And we're going to leave you with nothing. We're going to bankrupt you and put over $1 billion of debt over your head. Again, you don't have to agree or like Alex Jones. But do we want this to become the new norm? Well, I don't think so. That does it for me on today's show. It's an honor to fill in for my buddy, James O'Keefe. I'm sure you guys are going to see him very, very soon. He's working on a lot, and we look forward to bringing that to you, of course. I'm going to shout out some people who are on YouTube, of course, later on. But for now, let's just sign off with this. Thank you for sticking with me as your host today. You can follow me on X, which I always drop great reports on. I also drop reports over at independentnewsroom.com as well. It's a free email list you could jump on to and subscribe. I'm working on a lot, too. Now, again, James O'Keefe and his team are going to keep exposing the corruption, I should say, and we are going to keep doing just that. So in the meantime, folks, have a great rest of your day. And remember, here over at, as many of you guys know, the O'Keefe Media Group, we're going to keep exposing all of this, and we look forward to your support. Again, show the support that you guys want to show us over at o'keefemediagroup.com. We look forward to having you guys back on again.
He was basically admitting the fact that the agencies committed treason on camera.
There's a whole science behind eliciting information out of people.
We leverage online dating platforms like Hinge, Bumble, or Tinder.
Swipe repeatedly until you match with someone of public importance that you go meet with undercover.
Individuals who have the potential to help us expose any sort of corruption.
Disney, Meta, the IRS, MSNBC, the NFL, the Department of Defense, we've done it all.
I set up several online dating profiles. And little did I know I was talking to a senior person within the CIA.
This is what I do for when I work in CIA. We collect information from him.
From Trump?
This guy was talking about how they withheld important intelligence from the president.
This investigation was much bigger than any of us anticipated. All I could think of was, do not get caught.
Are you recording me?
No, of course not.
My heart started pounding.
You get to a point where they're that suspicious of you, got to get out of there.
Will you open that purse, please?
I knew I was busted. He was convinced there was a hidden camera in my purse.
I'm not doing anything.
No, I'm not okay with this. Stop it.